that money way down there, $5.4 million. The budget was high-ish. I think this is a fail for them. The King Richard, only $5 million. I think Warner Brothers definitely wanted to make a little bit more of their opening. This is going to be an Oscar player. They're hoping this is going to be a big push. You have the greatest tennis player of all time, arguably. Easy to say that sentence. This is a story kind of about her, more so about her dad and her older sister. But either way, only $5 million. Hopefully, word of mouth projects well, and it still just carries in like that 5 range for a little bit. All right, number 5, Dune, $3 million. It is sniffing $100 million. 98.3 domestically, right there at that $100 million. It'll get there. It'll get there next week. I think I even said within the next 3 weeks. By December, we'll get there. So there you go. December, boom, it's on there. Sixth place, $2.9 million for Venom, Let There Be Carnage. It's already over 200. 7th, No Time to Die at $2 million again, over 150. And then number 8, French Dispatch with $1 million even. Belfast coming in 9th place with just under $1 million itself. That movie's only made $3 million. Kind of a bummer. If you guys are watching on YouTube, you're seeing my son mess around with the light bulbs behind us. Because, see, it's the dual switch deal where you can hit the lights at the top of the stairs or down here in my Fortress of Solitude. And he's being a silly bug. And 10th place, Ron's Gone Wrong, $942,000. I've heard nothing but good about that animated film. It's made $22 million in 5 weeks. That's fine. $4 million a week, a little more than. But yeah, maybe I'll check it out. See if the kids want to see it. Because it wasn't ever on our radar, but every time it comes up, it's, oh, this is nice. The Come On, Come On movie, actually heard bad stuff about Joaquin Phoenix. It only came out in 5 theaters, but still made $134,000. 18th place. That's not great. But again, only 5 theaters. So your big winner for the week, Ghostbusters Afterlife. Will it hold on? We've got some big releases coming up this weekend. Especially at home. So how is that going to hold with Thanksgiving? People are home. There's some streaming things that people are going to want to watch at home. This is an interesting time for holidays. This is the change, the shift in our dynamic as a people, as a movie goer, as a movie watcher. Old days, Thanksgiving, families around, we're sitting there, we're fat, we just overfed. What are we going to do? Let's go sit and watch a movie together. The family will all go to the movies. We're all off tomorrow. Black Friday, do some shopping, go to the movies. Well, now you're sitting at home. Nobody's leaving on Thursday, right? You're not going to the movies now. Why would you? You can just stream because there's some good stuff coming out on streaming. Same thing for the weekend. There will be less people going because there's good streaming stuff. I really think this weekend is showing a lot of, hey, we're going to hit up this Thanksgiving streaming weekend. It's normally a big movie-going weekend for people. I think now we're seeing that shift. I kind of already said that. We're seeing that shift into more streamers going forward, are going to be releasing Thanksgiving weekend for the exact same reason that the movies released this weekend. Okay, done with the box office. Now on to our poll results. Poll results this week, just recently, Sexiest Man Alive was announced, and that's Mr. Paul Rudd. He's your current Sexiest Man Alive. I didn't see the voting, so I'm not sure where I landed. I'm sure top 10 as usual, just outside your 1 slot. Might be where I fell, but that's fine. That Paul can have it. If you want to vote a teenager, the Sexiest Man Alive, because he looks so young. Either way, he has Sexiest Man Alive dropped this week, and he also has Ghostbusters coming out this week. So I was in a Paul Rudd mood, and I said to you guys, what is your favorite Paul Rudd role? Favorite Paul Rudd movie? Now, this is a tough one, because Paul Rudd's not necessarily your leading actor, right? There aren't a ton of Paul Rudd films. There are a ton of films where Paul Rudd's amazing, but you don't have a ton, like Ghostbusters. He's a main part of this, but you're not going to see Paul Rudd. You're going to see Ghostbusters. There are a few, My Brother the Idiot, things like that where, yes, that's a Paul Rudd movie. But I think you guys are getting what I'm saying. He's just not that lead guy. And I don't mean that as a detriment because he's phenomenal. He's fantastic, hilarious. He does the drama. He does everything great. So I think this is why this was a little more difficult because it's, Paul Rudd doesn't have that leading, I have these 7 films that I did in my life and going forward, these are my leading things. I got nominated for these 17 things, that type of scenario. So going forward, Twitter, the big win here was Ant-Man. Ant-Man came in strong. I believe it was about 47%. Pulling it up right now. I figured that Ant-Man was going to be your winner just because it, is the most fresh in everybody's mind. Everybody's seen Scott Lang. And that's what everyone knows him for the most now, especially a lot of you guys that follow the show are big comic book watchers. Scott Lang, Ant-Man, 47%. Clueless, Josh from Clueless, 30%. That's, we're all introduced to Paul Rudd there. 14% was Brian Fontana from Anchorman, his role there, and then 9% Ned, our idiot brother. That's only off of 47 votes. Now, we did get a lot of comment belows. I love it. Love it. We're going to talk about the commenting below in just a second. Because, folks, legit, a lot of these, like Paul Rudd, I can't just list 4 roles for him and say these are your definitive ones. I'll throw out the top 4 in my opinion. And then, please, folks, comment below as much as you so desire. Let's get those votes going. I would love it if a comment below actually won the day, and we almost got that here, where we get more votes in the comment section than we do actually on the options listed. Totally fine by me. Depressive Gargoyle Nightmares says Ned is incredibly underrated. His sweetness makes him all the more attractive, and how much he loves Willie Nelson, his dog, not the singer. I caught your reference because I've seen that film. For those who haven't, check out Ned, our idiot brother. Good vote there for Depressive Gargoyle Nightmare. Thank you. Danny Brown says tough one. He's been so good. I mean, you could include Mike Hannigan, but for me, he nails Ant-Man and made what could have been implausible possible. Josh Rowley with the Ant-Man comment. I hate your taste in movies, says Dream Man with a gif of him as Josh. And then Dustin can read and watch. Can ya? He says no Mike? Question mark with the face, and then puts a gif of him as Mike Hannigan in Friends doing the crap bag thing. So anyway, I did have to not call you out, Dustin, but just have a little convo of comment below, baby. Comment below. Again, just because it's not one of the 4 options, feel free to comment below. But I even hashtagged Friends in the litany of hashtags. So we'll give you 4 options, but I'll try and throw out some other random hashtags in this scenario. We're belaboring the thing. Either way, I was all on you. I agree with you on the Mike Hannigan. Other people even said Mike Hannigan as well for your results, including on Facebook. Jess said, I love you, man, but then she also had to say Friends, and then also throw out Object of My Affection, says that's underrated. That is a underrated choice. You're the only one to mention that. Jessica Craig on Facebook also says, I love you, man, but also says his episode of Hot Ones, where he's eating the hot wings, and Craig says he does a knee slap laughing every time. Craig, you legitimately slap your knee? I would like to see video of that. That's actually pretty funny. Also on Facebook, and then also echoed over on Instagram, Troy Ziegler on Facebook, and then Katz said this on Instagram. They said Conan. Troy made me Google because he said his appearances on Conan, you should Google that. Yes, it was my first time ever seeing it. Buster your stone, Troy. But yeah, his appearances, the whole Mac and Me thing that he would do. In Troy's defense, if you folks don't know what we're talking about with his appearances on Conan O'Brien's show, Google that. Look that up. His stuff on there where he brings the Mac and Me clip. I don't want to say anymore, and just owned that bit for years. I mean, 10, 15 years. Just absolutely owned that bit. So, I guess Ant-Man's your winner here because you had a one big on the Twitter, and then it held over. Funnily enough, Instagram and Facebook, nobody touched Ant-Man. Everybody commented on other things, which is totally cool. That works for me. I'm totally down. Okay, we are now done with the box office. We are done with the poll. Now it is time for the reviews. I'm noticing if you guys are following us on the YouTube, if you are watching this, I'm sorry, but the lighting, since my lighting got turned off behind me, it's very, very like Halloween, this lighting now is way off, way wild. But it's going to make for a good video. It's looking very campfire-y. That's what I was looking for there. Campfire. All right, reviews. We're going to lead things off with Ghostbusters. Check your timestamps. As you folks know, I like to throw out the timestamps, not only in the show notes, but on our social media as well, to kind of help you guys out. I say that because I will be doing spoilers, especially on Ghostbusters, and then maybe the other ones, but I will let you guys know in advance with the spoilers section. Ghostbusters Afterlife drops. This is Ghostbusters 4? 3? 3.5? 4? What are we calling this? I guess it's in that world. They do make reference to the ladies of The Last Ghostbuster, but written by Jason Reitman, directed and Gil Keenan. Aykroyd obviously had a hand on this as well. And then Jason Reitman directs this. His father, of course, directed the first 2, not the third. Carrie Coon, Paul Rudd are your leads. Finn Wolfhard, McKenna Grace. Okay, so actually, as I think about this, it's a little difficult to get into the plot line without your spoilery section. So let me give you an overview here. Ghostbusters are back. Ghosts are back. This family of Carrie Coon and her 2 children, McKenna Grace and Finn Wolfhard, they're moving to the small town. They get evicted, and the only thing that they get is to move to the small town where they can try and fresh start, if you will. And here they run into Paul Rudd. While here, they learn about Ghostbusters, and they learn that McKenna Grace Finn Wolfhard's grandfather was Spangler. Crazy. So he has left behind all of his ghost busting equipment, but he was also researching this small town because he knew ghosts were coming, and a big, huge event was coming to this town. When we get into spoilers, we will dive in a little bit deeper. For right now, guys, I really enjoyed this. I really enjoyed it. As soon as I got home, I said to the wife, I said, babe, did you like Ghostbusters as a kid? Were you into it? Were you, because she was born, she's younger, a lot younger than me. Wasn't about to give the year my wife was born. No, folks. But she is a little younger, and so Ghostbusters might not have hit as well for her, just the younger age, but she said yes. She enjoyed it very much. So probably not as much as I didn't dive into the cartoons or have the Slimer lunchbox or anything like that. But the reason for asking was, if you are into it and you want the nostalgia, this is your lane. This is beautiful. The Nostalgia Fest is phenomenal. The quips and the jokes and the tone, everything just brings you right back to 1984. It brings you to that original style of filmmaking, how they would do, creature movies back then, even, in the 80s, not just Ghostbusters and alien type things and ghosts and supernatural stuff back then. It has that exact style of filmmaking for the majority of this film, which I thought was great. The depth of character that they provide here is even more so than the original Ghostbusters. We get into this family, why they're there, who they are, things to that nature. Paul Rudd gives you a little depth to his character, kind of like is your side. He's replacing Rick Moranis here. So he is your slappy, sidekick here, but he has more to it. Moranis was definitely the side character, but Rudd has some heart to his as well. Carrie Coon, it's funny that we didn't go to see this movie because of Paul Rudd and Carrie Coon. Nobody is. No one's saying, ooh, hey, Carrie Coon movie, right? Because Carrie Coon is phenomenal. She has been in everything she does. Been madly in love with her for years as an actress. Paul Rudd, the same thing. I already waxed poetic about him. They're great in this. They're both great. Paul does a great job, and then Carrie Coon does a really good job. She has a character arc with playing the mom here that I really appreciated. I thought it was a well-done performance by her. A couple other characters, Logan Kim, Celeste O'Connor, they're the other kids in this. Logan Kim, love you, Logan Kim, because his name is Podcast, because he has a podcast. Who doesn't, right? Everybody has a podcast these days. Anywho. It's not a surprise. I can mention that, the other Ghostbusters are in this. They do have some great nostalgia scenes, some good one-liners. I mean, if you've got time to go back and rewatch 1984 Ghostbusters, the original, I say that like I'm talking about Batman. Like Batman 89, Ghostbusters 84. Go rewatch that. I recommend it because a lot of things that they chat about in here are pages out of that script, pages right from that book. Annie Potts is back as Janine. You do get to see some Janine. Stick around because there are two, what are they called? Post-credits. There is a mid-credit and a post-credit scene. Shout out to Shy from the Friday Night Movie Pod, who called me out for not staying till all the way at the end credits. I watched one mid-credit scene and I didn't stay. I thought, oh, we're good. They gave us an amazing mid-credit scene and I didn't stay for the post-credit at the end. So he told me what it was and it sounds fantastic. Fun cameos in here. There's a couple of good, I was about to tell you who the cameos were and I'm not gonna. So those of you who have seen it, we'll go jump into the spoiler section. Here we go. Before I go spoilers, guys, I really enjoyed this movie. It's a solid 8 out of 10, it's just Nostalgia Fest. Fun little story, gives you some heart, gives you some depth into some of these characters. Everyone does a phenomenal job. Before we go into spoilers, I do want to say McKenna Grace, holy goodness. I remember seeing her with Troop Zero Troop, something that Amazon, where she's in the Girl Scout troop and then they want to go up against the big kids and, but they're kind of nerdy. She was great in that. And I remember giving that review of that movie, saying, the one girl who was the lead, for as a child actor, keep your eye on her. Troop Zero is what it was called. It was an Amazon original. Keep your eye on her because she was pretty darn good for a kid actor. She was great. Man, I couldn't have been more right because in this, you can't tell that she's a kid actor in this. And then, and to that credit, she plays younger in this. She really plays it up very well. Acting across the board does a great job. Had a very good time with Ghostbusters Afterlife. I highly recommend everyone goes to see it. It will hit you with all the feels. There are some moments in there that you might need a quick tissue with. There are plenty of good laughs. There are 2 to 3-ish scares in there, let's not forget that the original Ghostbusters did have a couple of scares, little jumps, with ghosts coming at you. So they throw a couple in here. I think they almost felt that way. Like, oh, we do have to give a scare or two. Let's not make this straight kid. Let's make this for the adults to enjoy and throw a couple of, things in there. All right. all done with the non-spoilers. We are now going to our spoiler section. Please check the show notes down below. I'm trying to talk slower on purpose so you folks can fast forward. The next review that we do will be King Richard. So just fast forward along till you get to King Richard. After you've seen Ghostbusters Afterlife, swing on back and listen to this spoiler-filled section. So here we go. Spoiler time! Ghostbusters Afterlife. Gonna even give people a little more time to fast forward. I tell you, I was listening to a pod a while ago, and they did the same thing. Did the regular review, did spoiler review. And then they said, okay, spoiler time. So Ghost Egon immediately. And I was like, oh, you sons of beaches. Like, give me a second to push fast forward on my phone here, you know? I'm driving. I didn't have a chance to grab my phone and wreck it to the car in front of me. It was like, they said spoiler, and then, boom, give us a big spoiler. Since I said it, the kids are there. You know, you guys now know this. If I'm doing spoilers, you guys have seen the film. So they're there because Egon dies. I was very curious going in. How are we going to handle Harold Ramis's death? They handled it by paying homage to the man with this film. You know, I mean, the very last thing is for Harold. It was beautiful, absolutely beautiful. And I'll be honest, when we started getting Ghost Egon, I was kind of like, all right, Force Ghost Egon, all right. I wasn't hating it, but I was just wondering how far we're going to go. And then they went as far as you can possibly go, minus talking with him. And I was still kind of like, oh, goodness. Because I felt like when Ghost Egon reaches around and grabs the proton pack and is helping her shoot Gozar, when he's helping in that moment, had that been it, had like that, he was done. And then we didn't see any more of him. Like he just helped his granddaughter. I was like, oh, that would have been awesome. That would have been really nice. But then he sticks around. They nail it with the comedy with Murray and Aykroyd and Hudson, you know, looking at him and being like freaked out by him, like, holy crap, that's, you know, our friend who's now a ghost, blah, blah, blah. But then when Carrie Coon hugs him and she comes around to loving her dad, and then it just goes up and then it says for Harold. Oh, I'm literally getting chills right now. As we say, I'm literal chills as I say it. So it hit well. They did a good job. Very well done. The storyline to me was just carbon copy of 84, and I actually appreciated it. I was like, this is fine. They're taking massive elements out of 84 and just putting it right into this. And I was like, oh, that's great. They brought back Gozar, and she's badass. Like, I don't know. She was scary. She was freaking, you know, and she wasn't like in a distance. We got to see close up, and the whole body is glowing and everything. I love that they were able to amplify and give you now's technology of the dogs, which is great. I thought it was great that Paul Rudd became a dog. I wonder if they pitched him on, hey, we want you to be in Ghostbusters, and guess what? You're going to be a dog. And I bet you Paul Rudd was like, sign me up. I am sold. I will be a dog. You know, ghost dog or whatever. I thought it was hilarious that Carrie Coon and Paul Rudd like hooked up or whatever, and like, you know, that whole relationship. And then because they became dogs, they had to mate or whatever. And the kid pie guy is just like probably third base, and then Luggie's like, go mom, good times. To belabor the McKenna Grace point, guys, wow, right? Just wow. Like everything she did in this performance was a legitimate performance. This wasn't a kid just in there acting. And I think Finn Wolfhard's fine. We're going to see him in many a film going forward for a while, right? He might always be known as a Stranger Things kid, but still, either one of them. But still, he does good here, but nothing compared to McKenna. McKenna just steals this apps. Every scene, she's just stealing it where she's actually performing here. And I thought it was really like, circle this kid. She was great. Everything with the gunner seat, and she's zipping out, she's zipping in. She's got the action sequences, and then she's talking with her mom, and you know, she's got to act smart, but then sometimes she shows some kid and some emotionality, and she nails her one-liners. I love the dad jokes. Every single one of them was hilarious. I wish I had a pen and paper. As they were telling me all the dad jokes, I was like, let me write that down. The Nostalgia Fest was fantastic. Everything about the Nostalgia Fest bringing me back to that old world. Like I was still in the Ghostbusters universe, but we weren't in New York City. Wasn't sure if we were going to be able to do that or not. I thought a couple of negatives for me. I thought it was a little bit of a stretch of Ray says, you know, Egon Spengler can rot in hell. All right. Why? I don't think he's that mad. Like, why was he that mad at him? I didn't know if that was necessary. Like, he could have just, when she called, all right, you know, Spengler, you know, it's like, Spangler, ain't talked to that guy in 10 years. Like, I guess could have gone that route. I don't know. The Rotten Hell line seemed much. Because now you're teetering with, well, you're ruining my child. That's the Ghostbusters. Why are they mad? They should be mad. Don't be mad. You're the Ghostbusters. I thought Bill Murray looked old. Like, really old. Ernie Hudson looked fantastic. Sigourney Weaver, holy jumpets, she looked fantastic. But I thought that Murray definitely looked a bit elderly. Aykroyd, we've seen in a couple of things, and he's put on an LB or two. So be it. These gentlemen actually are old. All right, I'm not going to keep rolling. I just wanted to talk more. I really wanted the spoiler section more so we talk about Force Ghost Egon for the most part, because for a minute there I was, nah, but then it came around to where I loved it. I did. I absolutely loved it. I thought everything about it was great. Looking forward to going forward. They could give me another Ghostbusters, and I'd be totally down. Because going into this, I was thinking, we're not reigniting the franchise, are we? Yes, we sure are. This franchise is reignited. And as you see at the post-credit scenes, we're going to get a part 5. Whatever you want to call it. 4, 5, whatever. So, it will be a bummer going forward that, I highly doubt we'll get Murray Aykroyd. We'll get Hudson, obviously, thanks to that post-credit. But you know what I mean? Like, I don't know how much more we're going to get going forward with them. So, how much more nostalgia can we get? I worry about the next one not being as grand. But hey, there's people out there that hate part 2, and I freaking love that they had the Statue of Liberty walk the streets of New York City. I thought that was great. I liked part 2. So, hey, they did a good job. This movie was what it was. You went in, you had a fun time with Ghostbusters, had a couple scares, had a couple of laughs. Good times. Loved me some Ghostbusters Afterlife. All right, spoilers are over. We are now done with Ghostbusters Afterlife. Thank you guys for joining me on that one. For those of you who fast forwarded, man, did you miss a good... Hit up the folks who stuck around for the spoilers and ask them, hey, was it any good? And they'll say, hey, it was. Right? Right. King Richard. We announced the casting for this a year ago, right? And it was very intriguing. Will Smith doing Richard Williams, Venus and Serena's dad. Now, as you guys know me on a personal level, or just we chat a lot on here. I do enjoy my sports. Later on we have a former NFL player on here, Kyle Prater. And we chat about sports every now and then on here. So well versed in the Serena and Venus Williams storyline with their dad. As they were coming up, everyone knew about their dad. Was he overbearing? Was he too much? But hey, it's working type thing. And I hate that people now compare him to LaMelo Ball and LeVar Ball, the whole ball, because that dude's nonsense. And granted, Richard Williams might have had his quirky ways, but I think his whole purpose in life was simply to make his kids as best as they could be. All of them across the board. Well, maybe not all of them, because they talk about illegitimate son that he doesn't care for. Regardless, these girls. So his kookiness, the whole time, people were poo-pooing it, but I think looking back on it now, and this film does a good job of it, yeah, there were some unique things in there, and he took some chances going against the trend, but it worked. We have the greatest tennis player of all time, arguably, right? All right, so Will Smith does a great job. I would not be surprised to see him nommed. I might be surprised to see a victory, and I know the heavy rumor right now is that he will win kind of on a career award, if you will. Kind of a, you've earned this over the years, we're going to give you the W. Let's see who he's up against. Let's see if he gets the nom first before we go down that route. We will have Oscar stuff closer to the Oscars in March. Breaking all that down. John Bernthal, I love the man. Put him in everything. He's great. It looked like he had just a lot of fun with this because he gets a little character-y and he does a good job as Rick Matsey. Serena is played by Demi Singleton, and then Sanaya Sidney is Venus. Sanaya Sidney is phenomenal in this. She really is. Does a fantastic job. Demi Singleton, again, both these girls do a fantastic job with everything they're given here. Being younger, A, as actresses, A, showing character arc, B, I just did 2 A's. So on to C, playing tennis. I was reading a thing that both the girls, they played sports, they're athletic, but they had to really get much better at tennis, so it looked real while they were filming. All that kind of stuff. They did a great job. Anjanae Ellis, to me, is the performance that steals it. She plays the mom / wife, depending on who you're looking at this from. She does a great job. I mean, the one scene where they're hooting and hollering at each other. Maybe it's just me, and I love hooting and hollering at people, or watching other people hoot and holler at each other. She does a fantastic job. She really does. And she, to me, should grab a supporting actress nom out of this. I really think they should put her name right in that supporting category and take that thing over and run away with it, because she does a fantastic job in this film. All right, the movie itself, it's fine. It's not bad. It held my attention the whole time. I wanted to know what was going on. It has some twists and turns just because that was their storyline. Like, now we're going to Florida. Now we're doing this. We're not playing juniors. We are. We're entering this tournament. How much tennis do they show being played? Oh, there's a drive-by. There's so much packed into this movie. It's a 2-hour, 20-minute movie. And honestly, I would love to clip a ton of it out, but I don't totally know exactly where we clip it out. Maybe a lot of his conversations at the clubs with, the old crusty white guys that refuse to give them a chance type thing. I don't know. There's like 10 of those. We got it. There was a lot of, what's crazy though? As many as those scenes as they had, we didn't get a lot of Richard telling his children, because of your race, you're going to be looked down upon. Because of your race, you can't. There wasn't a lot of that. It was just accepted. Like, we got it. And let's just do better. Which, in the realm of this film, I thought was great. They easily could have had 17 lines of dialogue spread throughout of, because of our race, we're looked down upon. Because of our race, we're not given this chance. Because of our race in the world section of Earth that we come from, these people won't allow us to do what we want to do. And so, and they didn't hit you over the head with that, which was great. It was just like a known quantity. And Will Smith does a great job of, here's how we persevere. And then I loved when he came back around to see the crusty white guys who wouldn't give him a chance because of their race. And then shoved it in their face in a respectful way, almost, just kind of like busted the guy's stones about his pants. It was like, hey, you missed your opportunity. And it wasn't a screw you, my race, your race, my. It wasn't any of that kind of stuff. And so I really appreciate that from the film. I'm rambling a little bit there, but I think I just appreciate the fact that they didn't hammer home a point that we all got and understood. And that maybe would have been, they could have cut out, 10 minutes, because they did that like 9 times. So the movie's fine. The movie's okay. It's not great. I will never again say, hey, let's throw King Richard on. Let me go watch the story of Richard Williams again. I'm happy I watched it. It was good. I learned things about Venus and Serena that I never knew. And I have followed their career from the beginning-ish very, very closely. I did not realize that they were in juniors and a tennis academy with Andy Roddick and Andy Roddick's brother and Martina Hingis and Jennifer Capriati and all these, big-time names. Didn't realize that they knew them since they were 12. Like, that's awesome. That's cool stuff. And that makes it, like, more fun in thinking these people playing against each other, they've known each other 15 years. Like, it's us. We're like, oh my gosh, Venus versus Martina Hingis. That's awesome. They've known each other for 8 years. To them, it might not have been that thing. Super shady with Ana Sanchez Vaccaro with the delaying thing. Didn't remember that at all happening, obviously, because it's forever ago. But that shouldn't have been allowed. That was ridiculous. She should have been ejected from the tennis match. The movie. I liked it. It's good. I don't think you guys would be too disappointed with it. If you want to just watch it at home, I recommend just watching it at home. It's on HBO Max. You can easily just watch it at home. It is 220 long, so it does require a bit of an investment. I expect a Will Smith nomination out of this. I hope for the mom to get nominated out of this. Anjune Ellis, please give me a nomination for her as well. That's about it. The girls do a great job, but I don't see any of the noms coming from there. King Richard on HBO Max, or you can go to the theater right now. In the box office, we mentioned how this only made $5 million. You can go down the road of people just don't want to see the Venus and Serena story. That's a whole nother section, right? The crusty white men that won't give them a chance. Well, now they're not going to go see a movie about them. Okay? Those jerks. Too bad. Sucks for you if you can't go see a movie about 2 of the greatest tennis players of all time. B, this movie's not really about them. It's more so about their father. It's a good story about that. So it's disappointing that people would have that mindset to not go. C, it's on HBO Max, so you easily could have stayed at home and watched this. I did. Guilty. Right? Didn't have a lot of time. Could only get to the theater for one film. So I think that's a major factor here, because there was a very easy, I don't need to go to the theater for that movie. There's nothing about that movie that I need to see on the theater. Them hitting the tennis ball, I don't need to see that on the big screen. I can see that on my telephone, and I'm straight. Right? So I think that's really the bigger factor here is these movies that we walk that line of, should I go see this in the theaters? Or I can watch it at home. Ghostbusters, big, actiony, lots of bright lights and flashy things. Go see that in the theater. King Richard, more drama, more, I was going to say period piece. Yes, a period piece from 1992 that I can easily sit at home, watch. I think that's more so the factor here with why it did not make a lot of cash. B, I just think the movie's okay. It's not bad. It's just okay. That's it. All right, let's move along. King Richard, we are all done with. Sorry, I should have had a spoiler alert section in there that Venus and Serena Williams are 2 of the greatest tennis players of all time. Spoiler alert. Sorry if you guys didn't know that already. Tick, tick, boom. this movie came to Netflix this weekend. This movie, I remember being announced way back, and it was like, hey, Andrew Garfield's great in this. You guys are going to be loving it. We're going to be talking award season-y stuff. It is going to be later on. It got pushed, and then later on in the fall for musicals, and then we're going to get right in award season-y stuff because of musical things. That's probably why it invoked a little bit of singing earlier on for me. Lin-Manuel Miranda directs this, written by Stephen Levinson, based on the music by Jonathan Larson. This is a movie about Jonathan Larson, based on a true story all about him, where he's trying to get a Broadway musical made. He's before he turns 30, and he's feeling the pressures of turning 30. He's feeling the pressures of living in New York City, not having a dime to his name, and he's just working so that he can get a life in the theater. He's feeling the pressures of all the people around him are getting AIDS and dying. He's feeling the pressures of just life in general, and his girlfriend is moving on without him because she's now realized, and his friends are moving on without him. They tried it. They tried to be actors. They tried to be actresses. They tried to be dancers. It just didn't work. It happens to all of us. I'm sitting here hosting a podcast. I tried it. I tried to be an actor real hard. Did okay. Had fun with it. Now it's more of just a hobby. It happens to the best of us. But he didn't. He held on. And this is the movie about how he held on maybe too long until finally deciding to move on, but he didn't change careers. He stayed with something else, finally wrote something good, and then eventually Jonathan Larson writes Rent. Rent that we do 525,600 minutes. But this is pre-Rent, pre-writing that, pre-becoming famous, and what happens here. That's your movie. All about him trying to write Tick, Tick, Boom, the show. I'll start with Garfield. He's going to get nommed. He's fantastic. Is he a little over the top? Meh. But is it good for this movie? Yes. He when I try to hit the high-pitched note, I can't. But when I don't, I hit puberty. And it's meh. See that? By itself. Garfield's great in this. It is a little over the top, but Jonathan Larson was over the top. So maybe he's just owning that. And I fully expect him to grab a nomination out of this. He is great in this film. He gives us he came out of Social Network, and then we had him in Spider-Man's, and then he did little things on the side there while he was getting famous for Spider-Man and for dating Emma Stone that people were like, hey, he's a talented kid. This guy is really good. You guys don't know. Wait till you see him do some other things. Or wait till you see him get away from Spider-Man, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Then he does the war movie Hacksaw Ridge, and he's like, oh, he's fantastic in Hacksaw Ridge. It's a shame that he's attached to Mel Gibson in this scenario, right? So here, I think the world is going to really take notice. And he even did better projects earlier this year. But they're really going to take notice after they see this. This movie is essentially a musical. You're essentially watching Tick, Tick, Boom, the show. They filter in storyline throughout. They filter in additional storyline to help you drive the way. I really enjoyed this. Get yourselves in a mood to watch a musical. Because I know some people, you need to be... It's under 2 hours. And it is well worth your time. Some of these songs in here are just ear-to-ear, grin-giving songs where you're just loving it, toe-tapping the entire way. And it's it's a blast. And there's a couple of moments in this where he just makes up a song on the spot, makes up a song about sugar, makes up something, and I was like, that's something I can relate to. Because how many times do you guys drive, I feel driving, 10 minutes ago I made up a song about award season, you know what I mean? And I was like, yes, I can relate to that. That's awesome. So it had this guy's a famous Broadway writer, director, creator, and there's relatability here, which is great. He's working as a server in a diner, and he's still making up silly tunes at a party. Fun stuff like that. All right, before I get too long here. Alexandra Shipp plays Susan. She plays the girlfriend. Fabulous. We know her from X-Men, amongst other things. She does a fantastic job. Can't wait to see what she does next. Vanessa Hudgens is in here, but very backgroundy. Very just owns the role that she is given. And for a minute there, I was like, that is Vanessa Hudgens, right? Like, not makeup or nothing like that, but she doesn't need to steal the movie, and I actually very much so appreciated that from her. You would feel her career is to one where she should be playing the Alexandra Shipp role, but she doesn't here, and she does a great job in her role. So I don't know how that all played out, but I appreciate Vanessa Hudgens for adding this into her IMDb career because she did a great job with this. Everybody else across the board, they do fine jobs. Little Bradley Whitford is great in this. Judith Light. When Judith Light, I was like, holy crap, Judith Light, who's the boss? I was like, wow, haven't seen her in a minute. But show stealer, right? If Garfield isn't, turning your head here, show stealer that comes out of nowhere is Robin DeJesus. He plays Michael. He plays his friend. This guy, like you're not expecting it. He's just playing the friend that sold out. Now he has a job in finance. He used to be a good actor. He used to be a singer. He makes jokes about how he can't sing. He never could sing. He wasn't that good though, so that's why he moved on. But he steals some scenes and some songs in this movie. I think you will appreciate his job. No, I don't see a supporting nom out of him, but would I be mad if one came out? No. When I do a live reaction video while we watch the noms get announced in a couple of months, if they say, excuse me, if they don't burp on air, if they say Robin DeJesus for Tick Tick Boom, supporting actor, I will woohoo. And more loudly than that, I tell you. Tick Tick Boom, it's on Netflix. $1.55. Do not 1.25 rate this. Watch this because the music is good. The songs are great. I feel guilty because after this came out, I then went straight to the soundtrack of Rent, and I was listening to Rent for a while, but then I was like, wait, I should be listening to the Tick Tick Boom soundtrack because the songs on there are just as good, if not better. Okay, that is our reviews. Thank you guys for listening to the reviews, and we've gone long here. We've gone definitely a little lengthy with the reviews, but now it's time for our interview, Mr. Kyle Prater. He is, he has Chasing Greatness production company. They have a new short film out, it feels like a bio doc for sure, out right now. And he does a good job with all of it. And he's like one of those actors, performers that when you meet him, you're like very, very much like I was mentioning McKenna Grace earlier, where when you see it, you're like, oh, okay. Let me circle this. Let me put your name on my calendar because I really think Kyle Prater has a lot to say. I think he has a good eye for how to say it, and he's already given us some very good content that I think everyone should check out. Fun interview here. It's about 11 minutes long, folks, so I hope you enjoy my chit-chat with filmmaker Kyle Prater. Welcome back, everybody, to a special interview here on Take Two Podcast. I am joined by someone I am really looking forward to chatting with, a former NFL player turned filmmaker. Of all the accolades I've had of folks on the show, this guy might have the most. No pressure at all. Mr. Kyle Prater is joining the show. Kyle, what's up, man?
How you doing, Brian? Nice to be here, man. Appreciate you having me.
Thank you for joining the Take Two Podcast. Okay, so you're in the NFL, but I was scrolling back through your accolades. At one point, you were like number one high school receiver number one high school out of high school, number one receiver out of high school, then highly recruited, all that kind of, I was like, holy cow, this is fantastic. These are accolades that we've never had on the show before. So I'm very excited to chat with you about it.
Yes, sir. I'm excited to take you down a journey a little bit.
You went from sports into the film world. That's like a common theme of actors want to be athletes, athletes want to be actors type thing, but you're actually doing it, and you're actually doing it well. You currently have a film out, Sample of Life. I got to watch a short film out right now. It's on your website, Chasing Greatness Productions. It's fantastic. It's like just a very raw, real dive into the process of art and the process of making things and kind of finding yourself in an inner journey while creating film, while creating music at the same time. Am I on the right path there with Simple of Life?
No, you're on the right path. You couldn't have said it any better. Soul, which I, call it Samples of Life. It was something that, we was all in the pandemic together. We all, as artists, as just people, we had to sit down and isolate and figure out a lot of things within our lives, whether I was in a marriage or relationship or whether I was being alone. For me, that was being alone and tapping into my artistry with me loving music, storytelling. So I wanted to put something together that was going to be a body of work that can give people hope, audio healing, especially for the times right now, especially mental health, in the Black community, especially in the athlete community, athletes in transition, athletes that are trying to do what I'm doing and get into another space. I just wanted people to see the process and how in depth we go to get to certain places.
That's a side note that you touch on here, and it's beautiful because, men, number one, athletes, number two, we don't talk about our mental health. Don't ask me about my feelings. I don't want to share that with you. But then especially, in a bigger picture type thing where if your mental health is even worse off, it's just not talked about. And you go down that road in this, and that's awesome. We're now thankfully living in a world where it's accepted to talk about those sort of things. And I picked up on that in this film and some of the other things that you're doing. I think that's great.
Thank you. I just think, again, with like mental health is very huge, especially like I said in the Black community. Like you always was taught to be strong. Don't show emotion. Suck it up. Sure. And to some degree, there's points where you should suck it up. A little bruise, yeah, you should definitely suck it up. But mentally, emotionally, there's certain things that you just can't suck it up. You know, you
Yeah.
can't push through certain things that we go through as athletes with injuries and life experiences. Some things you just have to talk about with people or deal with it right then and there. And that's what this film was. I just wanted people to see uh, a raw film from the standpoint of I hope they see themselves through this process.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it, and it's only 17 minutes long, short film, and it starts off where we're just kind of like in your house, like it's like, hi, welcome, you're in my living room type thing. But then as you keep watching, as you introduce us to this song, next song, and you let us know what you're listening to, what you're talking about, it's kind of like, well, I've now just become you and become you inside of this film. And I thought that was a great journey that you took. So I don't want to give too much away because I want people to go watch it. It's available on your website, Chasing Greatness Productions. That's right, correct?
Yes, so we actually we're gonna put it back up. We gotta take it down.
Okay.
Some website technical things as far as being on the construction. We'll change the landing page, but it's definitely going to be back up on chasinggreatnessproductions.com.
Okay, gotcha. Later on, when we drop all this, I'll make sure we put the exact link for everyone going there because I do implore everyone to go check that out. In checking that out, I also watched Shifting Gears, which I believe is on YouTube right now. And then you did a Shifting Gears Part 2 because it was so well received. That was a deep dive. And even earlier in your process of being an athlete, not being an athlete anymore, I really enjoyed watching that as well.
Yeah, I mean, shifting gears, for me, like I said, as a storyteller, as somebody that, I look at Kobe Bryant, I'm inspired by him, rest in peace, just to see how his transition was and how excited he was to tackle the next phase of his life. And even more so, he was more excited to deal with, be in that space than he was on the court. And that's what shifting gears was. It was the first part was, me teetering around whether I'm gonna come back and try to play and get on somebody's team or I'm finna dive in and be a complete filmmaker, which what Shifting Gears 2 was. But Shifting Gears 2 is just, again, dealing with inner demons. As an athlete, I talked about pain pills and being addicted to, medication and, college throughout my whole career and having to deal with that skeleton in that closet. And so revealing that in that film was, again, like you said, people saw themselves because a lot of times people don't have the strength to say certain things or show certain things that society or the public would kind of like frown you on. They'll kind of like, shame you for it. So for me, it was just about, I wanted people to see this and get strength from it.
In Samples of Life, you talk about LIA, Living in America. I was like, that's a great T-shirt brand right there. You should grab that. I was like, I'd rock that shirt, that LIA, and people go, what is this? Living in America. I don't know. Immediately, I was like, he should brand that immediately.
Yeah, Living in America. Though. That was one of my play around songs. With James Brown, that interview he did, and just living in America, man. Today, it's self-explanatory. You say living in America, and you just be like, man, well, there's so much in America going on right now.
Sure,
So,
sure, and just that living that sentence alone means so much to totally different people.
yes.
Every different communities that totally means a different thing, but both can be in a very positive nature. I noticed one fun fact. My dad's birthday is June 21st.
Oh wow, he's a Gemini Cancer too. Huh?
Same as you, correct? Right? I was like, oh, okay. Have something along the way. Yeah, a few years after you, though, or a few years before you, a little bit.
Yeah, yeah.
So growing up, I was a decent baseball player. There's a 5-minute section there where I thought I could do it professionally and earn money as a baseball player, and came close. But the entire time, I loved acting. I was into acting. I loved filmmaking. I loved movie making. So there was that side passion. So go through life starting off as an athlete, but at the exact same time, there's that niche right there, right next to you, that just that passion that keeps calling. Have you always had that? Has that always been there for you with filmmaking, or it seems more so with you with storytelling at the very least?
I mean, I look at, I look at the process for me, and I did a film called Fam, a little small, short couple years back. And it was all just home video footage that my father and mother had shot, from birth, and me and my sister. And I was like, wow, like thinking back to like how my father was shooting, and now I'm in a space where I'm shooting as well. And I wasn't even thinking about being a filmmaker or a director or a producer, what I am now. But during the process of like those injuries, and my mother always said, make sure you get your degree and think, long term and things of that nature. But when I was hurt, I had time to really think about like what I really love outside of the sport. And with the amount of surgeries I have, 5 surgeries, and having to bounce back, you have nothing but time. And when I was released my last year with the Saints, when I got a concussion, and that was a big injury for me. I kept getting hit with injuries. I was forced to really figure it out. And I picked up a camera in 2016. and started shooting my little sister in the forest preserve, and I loved how pictures looked. And then I started to love how pictures look moving. And then I loved the composing and the sounds and all the, the things that goes into, videos, because it's so much more to just seeing a 60-second or short. It's a lot that goes into it. And I just love the process. I love grind. I love work. I just love being a part of, of it.
Beautiful. You kind of answered my next question, because I was going to ask, while you were at USC or Northwestern, did you study film? But it sounds like it kind of came to you a little bit later.
No, it came later. I took some acting classes at USC, and that was fun. I was a communications major. Okay. And I remember I took a TV and broadcasting class in high school with Miss Burtner. I remember that was my teacher. But again, like I said, it wasn't something that was like, oh, I'm going to be a filmmaker once I get out of high school or college. It was something that was like God's calling for me in my life. And I do it so naturally. So it's just a blessing that I was able to be in this position to do what I'm doing today.
If I can be honest, man, I absolutely enjoyed watching Samples of Life. I dove deep into it, and then I was looking forward to spreading the word about it so that I can just watch it again for fun. I wanted to show the wife it and watch it a little bit later. I really enjoyed it. Is there something else you guys are working on coming down the road that we should be looking forward to as well?
Well, right now, we're working on getting the film out and getting into some festivals. It's in South by Southwest right now, and just waiting on to hear back from that. Just praying for the best for that film to get out and get more eyes on it, because I think it's a film that a lot of people need to see, because we need that healing. We're still staying from the pandemic. We still walking around scarred, and I think we need to deal with some things individually. But outside of that, working on an NFT collection right now of some work that I've done over the years, and I'm really excited to really put out and get on the marketplace and the blockchain. I'm just tapping in so many avenues, and just right now, just trying to just be the best I can be the best version of myself, right now. And, that's where I'm at. That's
fantastic. I'm actually jealous of you going to like South by Southwest. If you need a +1 at South by Southwest, I'll gladly tag along in any category. Man, I actually really enjoyed it. Folks, you have to go to Chasing Greatness Productions. I'll put your exact links on there. Check out this film immediately as soon as you can. I'm with you. You should promote this film and everything going more. It's a lot of fun. And I feel like up to this point, probably most people introduce you as, former NFL player, now turned filmmaker. The way I'm now seeing you, sir, is just filmmaker. And that's fantastic. And anytime you want to come back on Take Two Podcast, I'd love to have you, man.
And I appreciate you saying that, because as an athlete, and I think as any athlete would probably attest to this, walking into certain spaces and people already know you as an athlete just off stature and your build. Sure. But to hear somebody be like, oh, instead of former football, former NFL, former USC, from all those things are cool, but like to hear just filmmaker, because you work so hard to like remove yourself from that position, which is a lot of ego and a lot of pride comes with that sport. And I had to let a lot of that go. So to hear myself in this regard as a filmmaker lets me know the work that I put in over the years has separated me from something that I first did. So thank you.
You're killing it, man. Ladies and gentlemen, Take Two Podcast, thank you guys for listening. Mr. Kyle Prater, filmmaker. Come back on anytime, man. Thanks.
Appreciate you, boss. Thank you, bro.
Okay, all done. I hope you guys enjoyed that. Again, check out Mr. Prater. I will tag on all the socials so you guys can follow him easily enough. If you football fans were wondering, he went to USC. Then he would transfer into Northwestern. Then he played for the Saints for a while. I actually, when this came across my desk, I was like, I know that name from somewhere, and it was because he played in the pros. And then, but now he's a filmmaker, and that's something that he and I chat about. At some point, you're not former blank, now blank. You're just now blank, and he is very much so now blank. I think he's going to be a really good filmmaker, and I can't wait. I want to have him back on the show when he does more stuff just to talk filmmaking. You know what I mean? All right, let's jump on to our casting couch. Martin Scorsese is doing a biopic of the Grateful Dead. This is an Apple product. And they have their Jerry Garcia. I almost said Cherry Garcia. You fat ass, you think of ice cream. Fun fact, I don't eat Ben & Jerry's either. That's funny. But Jerry Garcia is going to be played by Jonah Hill. All right. Interesting. Intriguing. Scorsese and Jonah, they work well together. Wolf of Wall Street, that type of thing. So I'm into it. Apparently Scorsese, huge Grateful Dead fan. Big Deadhead. Didn't know that. Didn't see that one coming. I figured Scorsese would just be, I've been listening to the Rat Pack since the 50s. I'm just going to stick with the Rat Pack the rest of my life type of guy. Big Deadhead apparently. Belated is a FX comedy about a couple that gets divorced. The lead here is going to be Cal Penn, and they are divorced, and now he's getting back out there, getting back out into the life, if you will. NBC has a new comedy coming. It has just been booked to pilot, and Julie Bowen, Baltimore, Julie Bowen is in it, and she's playing a mom who's just gotten divorced and now just getting back out there, gonna get back out and see how things go. Fleischman, Man in Trouble, is Jesse Eisenberg film. This is going to be Hulu limited series with Jesse Eisenberg, Man in Trouble. Wow, I spelled that word wrong. I don't know what that was supposed to be. But either way, Man in Trouble is Jesse Eisenberg, and this is about a couple that gets separated, and they're now in their 40s, and they're jumping back out there. They're getting back out there, and now that they're divorced, trying to get back out into the world. Eisenberg, and I'm not sure who the female lead is going to be just yet. Hulu limited series, Man in Trouble. I will come back around to clean that up next week to find out who the female supporting is there. All right, we're all done with that little divorce theme, if you will. Sabine Wren has been cast for the Ahsoka Tano series. Natasha Leo Bordizzo, we've known her from many things before. This is a great casting. Natasha Leo is going to be great as Sabine. And then Hello Tomorrow, this is that Apple movie that Billy Crudup is in that has added Jackie Weaver, 2-time Oscar nom, Jackie Weaver to the Hello Tomorrow series. And then lastly, a couple of Disney Plus things on here. Karen Gillan, big fan, and Danny Elfman is going to be doing the music for Rona, Who Lives by the River. And that is an animated thing coming to Disney Plus. And Alvehi Carvalho, Moana herself, is back in a series called Haley's on It. So 2 new series coming to Disney Plus, animated. They both look like some fun. We'll get some more details later on, and as we do, I will give them to you. But for now, guys, that's going to wrap up our casting couch. Let's jump on over to the Hollywood news. Okay, at this moment, Red Notice got reviewed back on episode 266, and I was positive on it for the most part. You know, it was a fun movie to watch. I'm not the only one that watched it. It had the record for opening day views on Netflix, and it now has the record for most ever viewed film on Netflix opening weekend. That's nuts. That's crazy. Good for them. Good for The Rock. Good for Reynolds. Good for Godot. I mean, you have 3 very strong followings put together, action sequence on Netflix, easy to watch. The perfect storm was there, and they nailed it. Lethal Weapon 5 has its director, and his name is Melly Gibsons. Oh, what? Heavy rumor. Melly Gibsons is going to now be directing Lethal Weapon 5. Intriguing. Let's go. Let's get that thing booked. Let's see. Oh, did you folks see the trailer for Pam and Tommy? This is Sebastian Stan. This is Lily James. We've talked about this. We talked about the casting. Then they gave us some set photos. Trailer dropped. Hulu, February 2nd. Wow, man. Like, for casting, I've said this in the past, and I'll say it again when we get to our Oscar special, our award seasoning specials. I really feel there should be an Oscar for casting. Whichever casting agent brought these people together and saw, I think Lily James could play Pamela Anderson. And someone said, Cinderella? The chick from that Beatles movie? As Pam? You know, Pam running on the beach, Baywatch, Pam. And they were like, yes. And guess what? They were right. And the same person was just like, I bet you the Winter Soldier could play the drummer from Motley Crue. What do you guys think? Yes, a couple tattoos on him. Totally see the Winter Soldier as the drummer from Motley Crue. I saw the Motley Crue once. Saw him open up for Aerosmith, favorite band of all time, Aerosmith. And Motley Crue opened up for him. Motley Crue actually put on a better show that night because Steven Tyler just had larynx surgery like a month before. And he opens up the show. You know, Motley Crue does a great job. Rock and roll. It was a good show. They did a fun time. And then Aerosmith comes out and Steven Tyler's just like, shouldn't be here tonight. Doctor said not to come on, but I thought, F it. Let's just rock. And they gave us like 48 minutes of not the hits either. That was my issue with that concert. As big an Aerosmith fan I was, I was bummed because they were only going to give us 45 minutes, less than an hour. They didn't play just the hits. Like, if you're going to do that, just give me the hits. Just give me your top 15 songs, call it a night, cool. They rocked like rock stars do. Okay, they owned what they do. But, yeah, if you're only going to do 45 minutes, which just give me the hits. Anyway, wow, let's bring it back. Let's circle back around to the show here, Brian. Kristen Stewart is doing a show on gay ghosts, like a series on Okay, I know the headline is crazy. Where she's hunting gay ghosts, right? Like a ghost hunters type things, but they're gay. How do you know that they're gay? I don't know. It does it sneak up behind you. It's like boo. I don't. I'm not sure on that one. All right, that's it for the Hollywood news. We're all over the place. I'm so sorry. Oh wait, before we move on, did you guys see that Harry Potter turned 20? What? Harry Potter? And I'm not a big pothead. I've seen like 1.5 Harry Potters combined. Not because I'm against them, just never got into it, never watched them, never read the books. But wow, 20 years old. Good for them. They have a big reunion special coming up. Look for that on HBO Max or something soon. Very Friends-esque, where they're all getting back together. Emma Watson's been putting it all over her socials. Either way, all you Harry Potter friends or fans, there you go. Getting more of it. Okay, trivia time winner. Last week we went with Convince Me. Tell me something I don't convince me. And that, of course, came from Usual Suspects, top 5 favorite film of mine. Although we can't say the name of the lead actor in there. But Craig called in. Easy. He said that's an easy one for him. They convinced me. So there you go, Craigie. Thank you very much. You are the winner of the trivia time once again. I mean, guys, with trivia time, it's like cats, Craig, Craig, cat. Like they're just back and forth, just battling out. Anybody else that wants to jump in? All right, tell you what. Here's what we're gonna do. I threw out a trivia time last week that was just for Craig. So Craig, you're not allowed to answer this week's trivia time. Trivia time. You're not allowed to answer this week's. Last week I said it, and I didn't put it as a trivia time because I thought it was such a hard one. But last week I said it's cold and it's wet, and that's about it. That's your quote. It's cold and it's wet, and that's about it. That's your quote. What TV show is that from? Does anybody know that reference? Can anybody get that? Craig, one of the reasons he and I are real life pals is because he got that reference many moons ago. Many moons ago. But I threw that out there. It is from a TV show that is no longer on the air and is a sitcom. There's your hints. Might have been on Fridays. Not sure. All right. We're done with the Hollywood news. On to DC discussion. One thing for DC discussion. Henry Cavill, we talked about this last week. Henry Cavill came out and he stoked those Superman flames. He's like, I still got the cape in the closet. The Rock talks about a Black Adam versus Superman thing. I'm in. Say when. Bing. Bada bing. So Brandon Routh was like, I could play this game. Wouldn't it be cool if I played this Kingdom Come version of Superman that we've done in these crossovers and just made it a series? Yeah, I think I'm going to talk to some execs about that. Let's make this Kingdom Come Superman like a legit series. And apparently it's gaining some traction. So keep you posted on that rumor about Brandon Routh reprising his role again as Kingdom Come Superman and going forward. That's done with the DC. Now to a healthy Marvel Minute. What do you want to do? Do you want to bury the lead or you want to lead off with the good? Let's bury the lead. All right. Spider-Man trailer. We'll talk about that in a minute. First up, Michael Keaton was on a talk show and he was asked about playing Vulture and playing Batman and all that. And he responded with, well, I'm filming tomorrow. And the host said, what? He said, yeah, I'm filming stuff tomorrow. And he said, for which one? He said, for Vulture. Yeah, I got to film some stuff this week for Vulture. What? Huh? Who? Huh? What? What, Mike? What? You're filming Vulture stuff? What are you talking about? You're filming Vulture stuff. What is this Vulture stuff for? Give us more, Mr. Keaton. Give us more. So who knows? Who knows whether could that just be some extra shots that they need to fill in for Morbius? Could that be some extra shots that he's filling in for No Way Home? Or could that be going forward? More Vulture in more projects. Who knows? Blade has added Delroy Lindo to their cast. Hello. Fantastic. Anything that adds Delroy Lindo, you already have my attention, as if I didn't want to see Blade already. Secret Marvel project. Bum, bum, bum. Scarlett Johansson has been booked by Disney, by Marvel, to do a secret Marvel project. Remember when we were all upset that ScarJo was suing Disney for the back end of the money with the Black Widow and she didn't get the cash? Boy, was the wool over our eyes, huh? They were fine. Everybody's all good. She's doing Tower of Terror as a producer, and apparently she has a secret Marvel project that she's involved in. The rumor is that she is involved in maybe producing or more the Yelena Belova, the White Widow going forward, the Florence Pugh Black Widow going forward. Why not? Write what you know. All right, lastly, Spider-Man trailer. I would not try and be very long on this because I could be. I'll tell you what, guys. I did not need another trailer. I didn't need the first trailer. I wanted to see this, right? But I will tell you this. Remember when Endgame came out, I kind of said, you know what? I don't think I need to see any more Marvel. I could die now. I could die happy with all the Marvel stuff that I've seen, with all the DC, all the comic movies I've seen. Good to go. And I just mean that. And you did everything so great. Well, then you gave me Shang-Chi. And I was like, oh, I like what we're doing here with Shang-Chi. And then you gave us the stuff on Disney Plus. And I was like, oh, I really love WandaVision. Some of the other things, okay, that's fine going forward. Fine. I did not think I'd be hyped for Spider-Man. I wanted to see it. I really enjoy Holland. I think it's great. I want to see where they're going now. But I've never now been this hype after a trailer for what they're going to show me, at least since Endgame, right? At least since then. And then before that, if ever. This level of, holy crap. I am really curious as to what you folks are going to do with all of these characters. And it's not just the Toby and the Garfield stuff. This is legitimate, like, holy crap, what are we doing here, Harry? Is at the very end. Like the theories. I've never jumped into the fan theory thing. People break it up frame by frame by frame. Well, if you look here, you can see a little bolt of lightning that's going this way. That means Electro is actually a girl. Crazy, right? Like crap like that. Like I've never been into that realm, which if he turns out to be a girl, would be insane because I just pulled that out of my caboose. But with this one, I'm just like, I'm buying into all these theories. I'm watching all these other theories on like, these TikTokers that break down theories. Oh, what if this and what if that? And I'm just like, yes, please, give me. It's like Thanksgiving. I'm just like grabbing all the stuffing as much as I can. Like, the one that I love is at the end, one that I was thinking, when Doctor Strange is like, they're all coming, I can't stop them, blah, 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 whatever he says. It's all purple beams. So is that the end of Loki? And when Loki and the timelines, is that what we're getting there? Maybe that's a mixture of Loki, the end of that, and then Bing, and this, then sets us off going forward for Doctor Strange, and maybe those two are connected. The best theory I saw from a very respected lady, and she legit was just like, I am rumor milling the stuff out of this, was that since it takes place on the Statue of Liberty, X-Men Part 1 also ended on the Statue of Liberty. So now when all the people are showing up maybes, and then they're doing a weird Magneto machine with its chemicalness, that's how the X-Men show up. And we're now going to get the X-Men. Thanks to this. Like, you thought you were here for Toby and Andrew. No, you're going to get Hugh Jackman, right? It looks amazing. It looks fantastic. I am head over heels ready for this. I will be there Friday night. I am already booked. Spider Monday is next Monday, so they're going to be dropping the tickets, and I'll be ready to go to buy my tickets ASAP. So that Friday night I have basketball practice from 7 to 8:30, and then my daughter and I are going straight to the next available showing, whatever the tickets we get. I am pumped for Spider-Man. And here's the kicker, guys. We will be doing some giveaways for Spider-Man No Way Home. We're going to be doing some fun Take-Two podcast giveaways. So stay tuned. I will put it on our socials and, of course, on all of our shows leading into it. We're going to have some fun Spider-Man related, Take-Two podcast related giveaways going forward. All right. So speaking of, wow, that was the greatest segue I've ever done. And I didn't even do it on I didn't even mean to do it, and I could have just rolled with it because now it's time for going forward. All right, going forward, big week this week. All right, leading off, if you want to lead off with some Christmas, 8-Bit Christmas dropped a quick trailer that comes out on HBO on the 24th. That's middle of this week. Also on the Peacock, Saved by the Bell Season 2 drops. The picture that Tiffany Amber Thiessen put on her Instagram. Yes, I followed Tiffany Amber Thiessen on Instagram. I'm surprised that you would think that I wouldn't. But she put a picture of them all at the max, and who is sitting front row? Lark Voorhees. Yeah, Lisa is in Saved by the Bell Season 2. We had talked about that in the past. That rumor was there that she was going to show up. I'm wondering if it's maybe in a Funeral for Screech ep. Maybe. Or maybe they don't want to even just go down that route. The movie Bruised with Halle Berry. She's a ninja, again, to some type of degree. It comes out on Netflix this week. Then, let's do Disney Plus first. Disney Plus, you have Hawkeye. That comes out in the middle of the week. Very much looking forward to that. Encanto, that comes out this week. Probably will have a review on episode 268 of Encanto. And then the Beatles documentary, Peter Jackson, 3-part doc, all three nights this weekend, Thanksgiving weekend, comes out. Probably will have some type of a review. I'm sure that won't be too in-depth or lengthy, but we'll have some type of a review for the Beatles. Get back where you want. Sorry. Stick to show tunes, Brian. That's all Disney Plus. Now, into your theaters. Licorice Pizza. Hearing amazing things. Want to go see it badly. hoping that my schedule opens up to see it this weekend. If not, I promise you folks, that is coming down the road. So if you have any interest in Licorice Pizza and my thoughts, stay tuned. That is coming hopefully by next week, 268. Resident Evil, it's got a long title. I won't be going to see this, but if any of you guys go out there and see it, let me know. Tell me your thoughts. Hit me up on all of our socials. That is dropping into theaters as well this weekend. And then the big one, House of Gucci. Father, son, House of Gucci. This, from everything I'm reading, this thing seems insanely over the top crazy. And some people are like, in a good way. And other people are like, it's insanely over the top crazy. I hated every bit of that. That makes me want to see it so bad, right? When something's so divisive that half the people are like, it's amazing. And other half the people are like, it's straight garbage. And half the people are like, everybody should get nommed. And other people are like, why is Jared Leto in this? I can't wait to see it. It looks great to me. So I'm very intrigued. House of Gucci, that is going to be our main review for next week on episode 268. Probably along with Encanto. Probably along with Beatles. And I mean, Saved by the Bell. I'll at least watch one up, but we won't be giving a full review there. Also, this weekend is the final weekend of November, so you're going to get The Realm of Take Two. That's our monthly spin-off series hosted by Roy from The Realm, and he does a phenomenal job with those monthly episodes, everything that is supernatural. We're talking swords and sandals and dragons and bears. Oh my. The Realm drops this Sunday onto all of your feeds, so pay attention for that. I looked at last month's numbers for The Realm. Whoa! It's got some listeners, man. You guys are loving The Realm, as you should. I'm not your only one, Roy. There's more than one listener out there. I'm joking. You know that you have more than that, but good stuff. So The Realm comes out this weekend. Guys, thank you very much. Again, follow Kyle Prater on all of his socials, and I've tagged down below where you can find it across all of our social board at Take Two Podcast for Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. You can follow our page there. You can, of course, shoot us a text or leave a voicemail, 667-365-8253 for episode 267. Have a great night, everyone.